Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Heart Talk, coming to you every Monday, 10 p.m. from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. And tonight we have Yuen-Li, whom I haven't seen for many, many years. Yuen-Li just flew in from the States so long ago.
Yeah, 3-4 weeks ago.
3-4 weeks ago. Yuen-Li owns this place called Earth Camp in Gopeng. You haven't been here missing out. So Earth Camp is, the company is named Nomad Adventure, has been there for many years, and it's an outdoor adventure resource for young people, young at heart. And so I haven't seen Yuen-Li for the longest time, and I haven't been to Earth Camp for the longest time. So Yuen-Li, how is Nomad Adventure doing, and how's Earth Camp coming along?
Fantastic. Yeah. We talked. I think we talked during the pandemic, at the height of the pandemic,
Yes.
when we were like, oh, we can only Zoom.
That's right.
Right. Interestingly, we're now on the other side, and I think when we were in the depths of the pandemic, the darkness of the pandemic, we were like, oh, if only we can get through it. And actually, I think the process of the reopening has actually been. It's been in some ways harder than we thought it would be. I've talked to a lot of, not just me, but a lot of other business owners in many other industries, and definitely this is the transition year, the year of rebalancing and adjustment. So there's even more like shutdown. Actually, apart from having no money and no business, it was actually relatively easy because it's very straightforward. You just roll along or whatever, right?
And do what you can.
And do what you can, and then cari makan, and plant tapioca, at least got something to eat and all that, right? But the reopening has been hard, because suddenly you have choices, and suddenly going from a place of having no choice, got no choice, you must do this. Suddenly there's choices, right?
Which is not always the best thing. So it just reminds me of what they said. So it's true that the normal is not the old normal, it's the new normal. And it's just very different. It's not like, oh, we know exactly what to do to get back to where we were, right?
Yeah, well, I think, and then there's no real such thing. You can't get, it's a fallacy, right? You can't really get back to where we were. So we're getting back to somewhere new, and we don't, but we're expecting it to be the same, but it's not the same. It kind of looks the same, but it's not. And things are different. And of course, resources are far more at a much harder.
Yeah.
There's a big press of resources, human resources, everything, inflation, all of that. So this readjustment time has been, and then I'm like, damn it, I'm supposed to be grateful, but it's so hard, right? So I think it's put a lot of people under a lot of stress.
Yes. So are you kind of over the teething problem part of the new era?
I think, we're so the first few months of reopening was pretty stressful, like, oh my God, we never worked so hard doing it before. I think, and then people were in this, we had to take them out from like 2 years of literally planting tapioca, that's what we were doing, to suddenly having clients again and readjusting to that, and then like, oh my God, we've got to hire new staff, train new staff, so suddenly it's trying to do 5 years of developmental work in 5 months.
Yes.
Right? So it really been trying to accelerate a lot of things. How much more fertilizer can I put? Can't observe it, right?
Yeah. And so we're coming out finally, although it's still.
Yeah.
Okay. And recently I heard that part of this, what you were doing is getting your team more on track, doing some trainings. Actually, when I talked to you and we spoke about that, it seemed that our timing was perfect, in the sense that you already had a retraining program for new staff, and then we invited Yuen-Li for something called the Warriors Weekend,
Which you just finished.
Yes.
Over the weekend.
Yes. So, maybe tell me what were your expectations when I went through this possibility at you.
think there's a lot of serendipity, right? And how it all flowed out, all worked out in the timing. There were a few anchor pieces. One is like it's this period in August where we have time. We suddenly have this break from clients.
Okay.
We have like 3.5 week section where we have time to do training and to work on. Before let's just do just do
Yes,
blindly,
right.
and then now it's like, okay, now what do we really need? So a bit more intentional rather than just kind of filling in the blanks.
Yes.
Right. So what do we really want to build? So it's after the pandemic. Our business is back and it's back at a higher level, even more. But rather than just kind of blindly grabbing, but being much more intentional about what we want to do. One piece that was kind of fit in this piece was there's this river in Indonesia called the Asahan. And it's huge. It's like one of the 3 greatest whitewater rafting trips in the world, top 3 in the world. And that river is actually being dammed. And in 2 months' time, they're actually going to shut the dam, and the water on the Asahan River is going to stop flowing. And so there's this time crunch, right? If you do not raft on the Asahan this month, it's gone forever, right? It'll never come back. So it's like, okay, we wanted to do that. We wanted to spend a good week in Asahan, and it's Sumatra, so close. Right? So just kayak also can reach eventually. So we wanted to go to Asahan, and then we had we wanted to do some. So we did a whole bunch of physical training, and then we ended it with the Warriors Weekend, which was just superb ending. It was kind of thought out, but it wasn't really consciously thought out. It just kind of fell into place.
Yes.
I guess it's things to do.
Yeah.
And it was just it made this great, wonderful. I mean, when you go on a river that's that big and that great, it's life changing, right?
Yes.
But then how do you actually make that life-changing stick? Then there has to be some shifting of your perspective. And so coming here and doing that Warriors Weekend, made that life-changing aspect stick.
Wow. So we were your grand finale for your training.
Absolutely.
Wow. Well, it's just over, and I did say during the weekend that it will slowly unfold. But perhaps you can share with us what are some of the things so far that have come up that you like that you see as being beneficial for the organization and yourself?
So on a very, so one of the things that we talked about in our training was this kind of professionalism. Right? How do you hold yourself to be a professional outdoor instructor? Because being an outdoor instructor it's not a job, it's a calling, right? I mean, you don't do it for money, you don't do it why would you want to? Climb mountains and then be cold and then sleep and then eat food that children have cooked, right? Why would you want to do that? Because there's a greater purpose to it, so it's a calling. And I think a lot of people become outdoor instructors because they're not quite sure why. There's something in that. They know that there's a call, and they feel that call, and they respond to that call, but they're not sure why. They haven't quite figured it. They haven't written their mission statement, and I'm an outdoor instructor because this is my purpose. I think being in the Warriors Weekend and the whole Bushido, the whole code of Bushido, right? The whole
Warriors Code.
The Warriors Code, how you conduct yourself. And the fact that that it's an internal process, it's a choice you make, and once you take that choice, once you take that vow that you take upon yourself, then it's how you live. And that's absolutely wonderful for my team. It's absolutely perfect. That's the code that they have chosen to live by as an outdoor instructor.
So clarity.
Yeah, and practice, and that practice, right? That sharpening, sharpening the sword. Because you can say it in theory, and you're like, okay, yeah, I get it. Okay, we have to be professional. But that practice.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, what do you see is possible now that? What are the new possibilities since this? What do you want to do?
I think one thing that shifted in them was, I think the concepts of duty and duty are, I think being Malaysians, I think one thing that Malaysians, it's easy for Malaysians to embrace that concept of duty,
Yes.
to do their duty, right? I think what I felt that really opened up was that it's a privilege to do my duty, and I think a lot of people, I kind of had these moments where some of my staff came to me and it was just something in their move, right? That emotional.
I saw that. I saw
a shift.
Because we were having several conversations in series, and it was, I mean, even without hearing what they say, just watching each of the staff, it was, I think it was quite profound. It looked like a profound moment. And tell me what shifted, what were some of the things that happened with your staff since throughout school?
I think it was that worthiness, right? That sense of worthiness, and the sense of, I think, people think of, if you think about a warrior, it's like you're meant to sacrifice, and you're meant to, you give your life, okay, I'll give my life.
Dispensable.
Yeah, dispensable, right? For them to feel that as a warrior that you're valued, that your life matters, that what you do, it's not, you're not just cannon fodder, you're not just, we care about you, we want you, we are not building you so that you can die, we're building you so that you can live, right, and live the best life that you can. And I think that's hard, it's a realization, and I think, I could see people were humbled by it, were moved by it, were like, wow, people are investing in me to do this, they believe in me. It's an emotional thing, and I think it's, to be a warrior, you have to be great. Like, you have to accept that greatness, and I think it's easier to accept death, but it's almost harder to accept greatness.
Yes. It's the same, how it's thousand. The person who has outer courage is what's this word? Is brave, is brave enough to die. The person who has inner courage is brave enough to die. And I think you're right about the latter half, which most people miss. Now, how do you see this shift playing out in terms of the customers, the business, people who come and join your programs? How do you see this shift playing out?
I think one of the hardest things in any human training, when you're training humans, is that you can teach people processes, and you can teach them skill, you can enhance their skills, right? And follow the process to enhance their skills. But then there's an element of judgment, and that's why that's the part that AI is protected from AI. Right? AI can't replace that judgment part, and that judgment part, it involves many things. It involves there's a portion of critical thinking, but there's also a portion of heart, right? That intuition and heart, and doing it with heart, and doing it with to serve, and doing it with honor, and that heart part of it. So it's this kind of broad area of, and then with the clear heart, you can actually have good judgment.
Right. Yes.
And that's the portion that's so hard to train, right? So hard. It's how do you train? How do you you see some people have it, you see some people don't have it, and like how do I close that gap? How do I bridge that gap? So I think this training was the one that was the closest that I had to be able to bridge the gap. I think you try to hold the context as a company, right? You try to hold that context so that it allows them to bridge that gap. But you can do a lot of things. So until you work on a person, until until as an organization you decide, okay, I need you to teach them the processes, the skills, but until you actually invest in the person and work with the person to develop and grow that person, then then you just have, then you'll have a person in your organization. Otherwise, you just have a bot, right?
I noticed you used a different word. Process and skills, you were using the word train. It's part of focus. We take focus. Use the word invest. How do you see that difference somewhere in the voice? Okay.
What's the difference between that?
Does the summary, does the Warriors Weekend reflect that essentially?
Oh yeah. I think it's about. I think it was the wholeness of that training group. Like it wasn't an exclusive training. There were other people in the training group, and that energy that everyone held, that intention that everyone held, created whatever was needed.
Difficult to put a finger on it.
Very difficult. It's something that just has to be experienced. Yeah.
So you have something to work on now, in addition to before this, as we move forward.
I'd like to think that we can play rather than work.
I like it.
Yeah. Because remember, like summarize this. There's a steadiness. There's also a joy, right?
Yes.
It's not.
Which is not often remembered, right?
Yeah.
You find joy in the smallest things, the tea, flowers,
That perfection.
the aesthetic sense, the sense of devotion to that quality. So, well, I'm really happy for you, and I feel it's worked out better than I was hoping it worked out. It worked out a little bit better than I was saying. I just want to make sure that get value out of this because but the serendipity is amazing.
Yeah.
And in a way, if you look at the serendipity, I'm not surprised. It turned out this way. It's always turned out this way. That's really good. Despite the distances. So, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Warriors Weekend, Yuen-Li, Nomad Adventure, and that is our broadcast for this week. So, Yuen-Li, perhaps you want to say goodbye. You may want to say a few words to the audience out there. Some of them will know you, and
Right.
some will not.
So one of the things that we talk about in Nomad Adventure is about the 4 adventure principles, right? So the first principle, which is takes the energy of springtime, which is adventure begins when imagination meets purpose.
Wow.
So you have that sense of imagination, and it marries with that sense of purpose. Then what's created is an adventure. An adventure also doesn't mean that it's climbing a mountain.
Yeah.
An adventure could be, anything. The next one is adventure forges your truth. Through the fire of adventure, through that challenge, through that it's a process that cleanses, it's a process that just makes you harder. It just forges the experience, right? Forges your personality. And I think after all that forging, there's also this wonderful camaraderie that you get through adventure. And in adventure and being in nature and being out in these wonderful outdoors is the best way to connect hearts, connect with each other, sometimes connect with ourselves. I think we lose that connection as we become more and more urban, and we lose that connection, that touch of nature. We forget to connect with ourselves and each other, and of course connect with our earth. And the last one, of course, is that the last principle is, well, once you've done it, it really means, adventure means that anything is possible. So these are the 4 adventure principles that Nomad Adventure is all about.
Thank you for that, because if you had told me that before, you will be upset with me because I don't remember. But that was wonderful. Such a pleasure.
Thank you.
And I'm glad we can be a part of training stint. I look
Yes.
forward to seeing you. Just
New beginnings.
yes, and new beginnings together too. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us this evening for Hard Talk, and we are here for you every Monday at 10 p.m. So, Yuen-Li and I bid you good night.